But Anna, I got to say one thing. Look, Democrats usually, unfortunately, over the last, I don't know, couple of decades, I guess at least post Obama, right? Have had two problems. One is they don't deliver on policy, and two is just terrible on messaging and politics and strategy. At least Gavin Newsom is slick enough that he knows how to deflect.
Hello, everybody. How are you doing today? We have Cenk Uygur of the Young Turks, and he is going to take a few well-deserved shots at Governor Gavin Newsom for basically his laughable, if not downright horrible, response to the California fires. And in the same way, he and Anna are going to take a couple of swipes at Karen Bass, the mayor of LA, and the news media, basically for covering for them, mainly because they are Democrats. And that's one of those things that one of those things that I like to highlight is the fact that we do have a media that is pretty much connected to one of the major parties, that being the Democrats. And therefore, you really can't trust what comes out of the mainstream media because, again, they are literally covering for Newsom and Bass throughout all of this. So why don't we sit back and take a listen as Cenk torches Governor Newsom and the media for their horrible response to the California fires.
I think that Gavin is largely incompetent, and I think the mayor is largely incompetent, and probably both of them are just stone cold incompetent. What they've done is terrible.
You say what to people who insist that these independent investigations or calls for them? Are you passing the blame onto other people?
How could it be when we're doing an independent investigation?
President-elect Trump has blamed you for this crisis. He called you incompetent.
And it turns out that Gavin Newsom absolutely is incompetent while giving the appearance of someone who's poised to be a president. Now, we'll get to all those details in just a minute, but it is important to understand that California Democrats are absolutely getting blasted for their inept leadership and lack of fire preparedness in the lead up to the devastating fires that have ravaged large parts of Los Angeles County, devastated areas, including the Pacific Palisades, Altadena, California, which is near Pasadena. Now, Donald Trump in particular has been going after the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who just keeps getting caught in various lies, including the one that you're about to hear.
The reservoirs are completely full, the state reservoirs here in Southern California. That mis and disinformation, I don't think advantages or aids any of us.
We do know, though, from reporting here locally that one reservoir that serves the Palisades was not full.
And that's exactly what triggered my desire to get the investigation, to understand what was happening with that local reservoir that was not a state system reservoir, which the president-elect was referring to.
Why did you say all the reservoirs were full? And then when you're hit with the facts of one of the major reservoirs being completely empty, well, that's why I'm calling for investigations. And, that's not a state reservoir. I'm going to pass the buck. I'm going to pass the buck. Please don't blame me. It's not my fault, even though I am the governor of this state. That's who Gavin Newsom is. In every single interview that he has done amid these wildfires, if you listen carefully, all he does is look for other people to blame. Oh, it's the city government. Oh, it wasn't the state government. No. You're the top dog, politically speaking, in the state of California, and he has failed the people of California, not just in regard to the current wildfires, but he has consistently failed the people of California in response to these wildfires, the aftermath of the wildfires. I mean, just take a look at what happened in Paradise, California. Okay, the so-called Camp Fire, which absolutely destroyed that community, robbed people of their homes as a result of PG&E, one of the electrical utilities here in this country, in this state. He bailed them out. I mean, this is who Gavin Newsom is, and I have a lot more to get to, but Cenk, I want to give you an opportunity to weigh in.
Hey guys, just to break in here, I really want to be at 500 subscribers by the end of January. I can only do that with your help. So if you could hit that subscribe button if you're here for the first time, or if you're one of those people that come cruise by and watch. Hey, look, I used to do it myself. I can't fault you. Okay, just take some time and hit that subscribe button. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to finding out what caused these fires. And it might be a couple of different reasons. We don't really know. But if it's PG&E again, then I'm going to be furious because Gavin Newsom took $10 million from them and then has not forced them to bury their wires. And their wires that are hanging above us all are kind of like a Damocles sword hanging over all of our heads in California, just so that Gavin Newsom can collect more campaign donations from PG&E. It's disgusting.
Just real quick, there is evidence that there are multiple sources of these fires, but nobody's been able to nail down anything yet. There have been a couple of individuals been caught lighting fires, but as I said before, there's nothing nailed down. So there's absolutely, it would not necessarily be PG&E's fault. It could be multiple sources.
I can't stand it. And then to your point, Anna, why did you say that you're ordering an investigation because the reservoir was not filled for the Pacific Palisades? But like literally 15 seconds ago, you said that all the reservoirs were filled. Both of those things can't be true at the same time. And I don't mean that as, hey, maybe you might have did a slip up on the reservoir not being full, but you just explained 15 seconds later that it was so important to you that you ordered an independent investigation, including of yourself, that it's hard for me to believe that you forgot that when he asked you the first time around.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah.
So look, I think Karen Bass has a lot of explaining to do in LA. And I think that, yeah, and the Santa Ynez reservoir is more of a local issue than a state issue. But I think that overall, your point about Gavin deflecting, well, he's done it literally in every interview. And in this case, I want you guys to understand the trick that he's doing. Because he's doing one of these investigations is a great way to punt and avoid responsibility when everyone is paying attention. When that report comes out, even if it's a scathing report, it'll come out 6 months from now, 9 months from now, 3 months, however long it takes. And by that point, people will have moved on to some degree, right? And Gavin gets to pick the people doing the independent investigation. And then, even if it comes out against them, by that point, the energy has dissipated, and he knows that. But Anna, I gotta say one thing. Look, Democrats usually, unfortunately, over the last, I don't know, couple of decades, I guess at least post-Obama, right, have had two problems. One is they don't deliver on policy, and two is just terrible on messaging and politics and strategy. At least Gavin Newsom is slick enough that he knows how to deflect. So he does it really professionally. If you're not paying attention and you just saw that on MSNBC, I think that a lot of those Democratic voters are going to think, oh, Gavin's on top of this, man. He's nailing this. And I know that that's what drives you even more crazy, okay? But he's at least adept at pretending he's doing something while doing nothing.
We don't need an investigation. We don't need an investigation because we know exactly what happened with that empty reservoir. And the reason why that reservoir was empty is because of the fact that it needed repairs to a floating cover so debris doesn't get into the water. And it's been empty for nearly a year. Why has it been empty for a year? Well, because constructing anything, building anything in this state, thanks to the environmental activists, or I should say, thanks to the individuals in this state who use environmentalism as this shield in order to pass regulations to make it incredibly difficult to build anything, including housing, right? They've succeeded at that. So to build anything, whether it's a reservoir, whether it's a repair to a reservoir, whether it's building a house, whether it's building anything, becomes incredibly expensive, becomes incredibly difficult to do, takes years on end. The last reservoir that was built in the state of California was built in the year, it was completed in the year 2000. Groundbreaking on that reservoir began in 1995. Explain to me how the fifth largest economy globally, the state of California, has that much difficulty building a reservoir. 5 years? Last one again was finished, completed in the year 2000. In 2014, voters in California overwhelmingly supported a ballot measure to support building more reservoirs in the state in order to bulk up our water infrastructure because we live in a drought-prone state. That passed in 2014. Funding was attached to it. You want to know how many reservoirs have been built since 2014? Zero. This state is an utter joke because of the people who are governing it. Gavin Newsom right now is at the top of that list. Let's get back to the Santa Ynez Reservoir. So officials said that the Santa Ynez Reservoir had been closed since about February of last year, 2024, okay? For repairs to its cover, leaving a 117 million gallon water storage complex empty in the heart of the Pacific Palisades for nearly a year. Unacceptable. So why hasn't it been repaired? Like, what's going on? Well, the city began emptying the reservoir in February of last year due to this tear in the floating cover. They were worried about debris getting into the water. Totally understand that. The repair would have taken a week, but it didn't take a week. It never got done because repairing anything in this damn state is impossible. Okay, so then we hear about the upcoming winds. Look, we were not surprised by this. I want people to not make the mistake of drinking the Democratic Party's Kool-Aid on this, because we were getting reports about the intense Santa Ana winds and the upcoming fire weather almost a week in advance. I knew about the fire winds and all of that the Friday before the fires started on Tuesday. Now, I bring that up because there was nothing wrong with the actual structure of that Santa Ynez reservoir. It was just the floating cover that had issues. So if I were the mayor of Los Angeles, knowing that these winds are coming, knowing that those winds could create a terrible, hazardous wildfire situation, I would hurry up and fill that reservoir, not really concerned about the debris getting into that reservoir, because we might need that reservoir specifically to fight fires. She didn't do that though, did she, Cenk? She knew about the winds. She knew they were coming. And what did she do? She went on a taxpayer-funded trip. Us Angelinos paid for her to travel abroad to Ghana, okay? For what? For something important that's going to benefit the people of Los Angeles? No, to watch their incoming president get inaugurated.
Yeah.
You are the mayor of a major city. You're not a diplomat. You're not an ambassador. What the F are you doing in Ghana?
Yeah.
Why were you not here preparing for a potential disastrous wildfire? The fact that she went to Ghana, Cenk, isn't just about the waste in taxpayer money. It isn't just about her absence. It's about the fact that it shows that she underestimated what was about to come. She didn't have the foresight because she doesn't care. That's the issue here.
So, guys, we're going to give you a lot more details about how unprepared they were in a sec. And so, all I want us to do in prefacing that, and I'm not as animated as Anna is about the Ghana trip, and so
why are we paying for that?
No, I get it. But politicians do it all the time. Republican and Democratic mayors do it. They go abroad on taxpayer-funded trips, and
yet one more time that a leftist will forgive a behavior of a fellow leftist with the excuse that, oh, everybody does it. Okay, it just insults me at no end. Okay, that this mayor of a major city that is prone in January to fires just flits off to Ghana, and I can tell you exactly why she went to Ghana. Okay, she's a Black American mayor of the second largest city in the country. Okay, that tends to have a lot of cachet when you go back to Africa. Okay, believe me, that's the reason why she was there. Okay, there was, like I said, she's not a diplomat. Anna brought this up. She's not a diplomat. Okay, and she's not a representative in any way of the entire country. So there was really no other reason to be there other than for her to preen.
Obviously, she didn't know that a giant fire was going to start, although it is fire season. But the major thing I want you guys to keep your eye on is, as now and this is the part that's beginning to enrage me a little bit, as I see a lot of people on our side defending Karen Bass and Gavin Newsom just because they're Democrats or they're on the left, or because Donald Trump told a wild lie about the fires, or because Karen Bass is a Black woman. Now that's a new theory that she wouldn't have been criticized otherwise. This is the largest fire in LA history. Trust me, she could have been Martian. She'd be criticized. And so the number one thing I want you to keep an eye out for is I think their pathetic excuse for, no one could have seen this coming. I mean, it's just wind, that's all. I mean, are you kidding me? There's wildfires in LA all the time. And you know generally what season they're gonna come in. You know they're going to be devastating. You know that your own donors are causing it half the time. So you couldn't know it any better You've been in trouble for it before, and you come into LA or California and you don't prepare adequately for this, and then afterwards you're deer in the headlights, and you're like, you don't know how to answer any questions, and you don't show any leadership. No, guys, don't make excuses for people on our side, because those homes burned down. I know families that were affected. My family's affected. And do not make the mistake of thinking because Republicans did X or Y that we should let people on our own side slide, because them sliding year after year, decade after decade in blue states and blue cities is what has caused their complete arrogance. And the reason Karen Bass didn't answer that question by Sky News reporter is because she thought, I don't have to answer questions of anyone. I'm a Democratic leader in California. I'm above the law.
It's even worse. Criticism. It's even worse. They're not used to tough questions. They're not used to tough questions. The corporate media absolutely does PR and provides cover for the Democratic Party, whether it's on a local level or a federal level. So when she was hit with a simple question, do you regret going to Ghana, knowing that these winds were coming? Do you regret cutting the fire budget? She didn't know how to, she was stunned. She didn't know how to respond, which is why she remained silent. It is pathetic to say the least.
All right, everybody. Well, there it is. That is Cenk Uygur basically torching Governor Newsom and Mayor Karen Bass for their horrible response to the California wildfires. And honestly, as I say always, I am going to give credit where credit is due. And in this case, Cenk and Anna are absolutely, completely right, if not somewhat misguided in how they are applying the blame. But then again, that is TYT. Okay, they are a leftist organization, so they are going to do what they can to try to salve whatever wound is caused by reality, okay, for the left. And they are absolutely and utterly right. And one thing, the mainstream media does provide cover for the Democrat Party. They have been for a very, very, very long time. And it's just showing right now. It's been showing for a long time. And it has been Trump that has brought that kind of thing to the fore to let everybody know that, yeah, there's a double standard as far as the media is concerned. I first noticed it, it basically came to light to me during the Clinton administration, way back in '93. But other than that, you know what, guys, again, this is part and parcel for the left, okay? It's part and parcel for the mainstream media. And even TYT is done just a little bit of it themselves. However, they are doing the right thing. They are calling for Governor Newsom and Karen Bass to be investigated. But as far as I know right now, there is a recall effort on both of them. So we will see what happens with that. So stay tuned, everybody. So thank you all for joining me today. Hit that like button, hit the notification button, bring me those comments, hit that subscribe button. And again, thank you very much again, guys. Later.